So today we're looking at this Samsung UN40H5500AF. This TV is light as a feather. The label says it only uses 38 watts. The symptom is that it won't turn on at all. There's no standby light. When you try to turn it on using this jog control, you get a very, very weak sounding chime and a very, very low, quick flash. Let's see what's wrong with it. Okay, on take apart we see three boards. Power supply board here is on the right, and I don't see anything wrong with it. Just looking, visual inspection, doesn't appear to be anything wrong. Visual inspection is always the first thing I do whenever I'm fixing anything. And so here's the T-Con board. Don't see anything wrong there. Here's the main digital board. That looks fine. But just to the left of the main digital board, right here, this is the thing your eye should go to immediately. Right there. There's a big burn mark. Another symptom of this TV is also that when you move it, something's rattling around inside. So what could that burn mark possibly tell us? Well, these copper strips that you see going from side to side, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Those are the LED backlight strips. And so my guess is, especially seeing that big burn mark, is that we have a shorted LED, that this center strip is bad, and the main logic board, the protection circuits on this main logic board are keeping the TV from turning on in order to prevent a fire, because obviously something very, very bad has gone on here. Now, one way to prove that here's the cable from the power supply that goes to the backlights. So if we disconnect this cable, the TV ought to turn on and we should get some action on the standby LED located in this section. We should be able to see some LED action here. We may even hear a chime if we take this off. So we're going to do that. The power cord reconnected. I've got the backlight cable disconnected. So now the main digital board's not going to sense a problem in the display, so it should allow the TV to turn on now. Let's see if that's the case. Oops, what do I see here? Suddenly I have a red flashing standby LED. Usually you get 7 or 8 flashes on these Samsungs and then it will turn on. Alright, maybe that was just the initialization from switching on the power strip. Let's hit the jog control here. Oh, I see. It's not going. It's not going because I previously disconnected the screen. You can see we've only got 2 blue LEDs on the T-Con board, and the ribbon cables have been disconnected. So you'll have to take my word for it. When you do what I just did, assuming that these cables are still connected, you get a normal 7 red LED blinks, which is the normal startup sequence. And then this LED will come on a violet color, indicating that the TV has turned on. So I'm not going to reconnect everything and prove that to you, just take my word for it. So when that happens, when all of a sudden you get normal LED action here, with the backlights having been disconnected, this just confirms the problem that we witnessed here, even if there's no visual evidence that you've got a backlight problem. So let's flip this over and see what we're facing. Okay, so I've removed the LCD panel which sat on top of this piece of plastic, and it doesn't look good. So let's just pick this up and slide it. It's a fairly rigid. Oh, this is a thin piece. Underneath that is this rigid piece. Here, let me move this thin piece out of the way. Okay, now we're down to this rigid piece. That really doesn't look good. I wonder if I can wipe that off. Oh no! Look at the damage here. Here's what was rattling around inside. That's one of the lenses. It's a lens like this from an LED. The problem appears to have been right there. It looks like all of this caught fire. I would say this is pretty conclusive evidence. Let's look at the back of this sheet of plastic. This is quite burned. That's almost burned through. This is quite burned here. I don't know if we can show how buckled that is. Really burned and buckled. And what a stench. If this TV were ever to get fixed, this piece of plastic would have to be replaced. Let me get this out of the way. Okay, so here's the light box. You would have to also replace this white reflective material. We would need at least one strip. I'm just curious how extensive the damage is. Now, a question, how could it get this bad? Well, the TV caught fire. How'd that happen? Because when the TV is on, I'm not sure there's any protection circuit. You certainly have a protection circuit on power up. But once the TV powers up, obviously it can catch fire, because this one did. Now, on the good side, the black plastic cabinet was not burned. So it didn't get through the metal, which is under here, and it didn't burn the black plastic cabinet. So obviously it didn't burn the wall, but nevertheless, when you see this, it's alarming. So I'll take it apart a little further and we'll just see how bad this got. Now my wife asked me, do you really want to fix this thing? Would you trust this on your wall? Would you fix this and give it back to its owner and be responsible for it? And I don't want to be responsible for this, even if I put a whole new light strip set in it, even if I can find a new reflector and all new plastics for it. This is unbelievable. So, but we'll take it apart a little further and see how many of these strips are bad. Okay, got this white reflective material loose, and we can further assess the damage. Definitely need a new one of these. Here's the light box. Okay, next we'll test these strips individually. Okay, I'm ready to test. I've disconnected all of these light strips. Wasn't really getting very many results when they remained connected. So we've got this disconnected across the frame here. And here's the one where the fire started. I don't think we'll bother testing this one at all. Disconnected it here in the middle as well. So we have a Shopjimmy LED tester. This is a very, very handy tool. So let's get to it. We've got our positive and negative. Just touch those two test points. Then we wait a few seconds as they start to light up. And we can see that here in the top row, even the one that's got the smoke damage works. We've only got one LED out right here. So I put a little mark next to the lens. Let's go to the next row. Every one of these LEDs lights, so that's a good row. And we'll go to the next row. We have one out. So in this row we have one LED out, and we put the mark right here. Let's go to the bottom row. And in this bottom row we also have one LED out right here. Now let's try the ill-fated row that actually caused the set to catch fire. I've got it separated too. Just look at that. See, it's separated so the burned piece is not in the circuit. Let's see if we get something on this. And we get absolutely nothing. Doesn't work at all. Now, regarding the smoke damage, I suppose you could clean that off with steel wool. I don't know. You would need to fix this TV at least one complete row to replace this row. And then we marked out 1, 2, 3. I guess these strips could be fixed if you had spare LEDs. Quite a frightening situation. Let me know what you would do. Thanks for watching.